Well, that's a big rip. We just got our audio
Yeah.
back. I don't know what happened there. OBS audio just was working fine in pre-show tests, and then it just all cut out. I had to like change the settings and change them back, and then OBS gets our sound back. So go figure.
Hey,
Thank you, Pigmers, for the heads up. Don't know what the
my
heck happened there.
man.
So for those of you that missed it, we had an awesome intro, and then Mitch
Best one
talked
ever.
about getting a dog. And I was saying, I just saw that message right before we went live that you were getting the dog. I didn't realize it was like a dog. I thought it was like a puppy. So you're getting like a full-grown adult dog.
Yeah, yeah. It was used in a breeding facility for about 7 years. It ended up getting rescued. I don't know if the breeders just gave it up because she couldn't make babies anymore, or it was rescued from that place because it was at poor conditions. But
Hmm.
either way, the people that are rescuing them gave it a great life while they were taking care of her. And there's a little added pressure for me to be able to deliver the same. But my parents have had a bunch of dogs in the past, so I think I have some pretty good experience, and hopefully I can, give them her a good home as the rescue place did. So I'm excited, but a little nervous.
That's always exciting to get a new dog. We actually recently got 2 kittens.
I saw that, very tiny
Yes,
kittens.
very tiny, like 5 weeks old. They were recovered from a scrapyard by a friend
Wow.
of a friend of my wife. So her friend had tweeted something out or put something on Instagram saying like who's going to adopt these 2 kittens. We were looking at it. It was like 11 o'clock at night. We were getting ready to go to bed, and we were just watching the videos. And we're like, "What do you think?" Like my kids have wanted cats for so long. My daughter loves cats. My parents have 7 cats, so my
Wow.
daughter goes and just like basically assaults all of them with her love.
Yeah.
Um, so she was obviously she obviously always wanted her own cat. So
Now she
we
gets
were like, you
two.
know what? Let's do it. Let's go for it. So we went up there. We made the decision. My wife left that morning. Didn't tell them what was going on. Went to Walmart. Got a bunch of stuff. Went to get the one cat. She gets there and she's like, "How would you feel if I got both?" She's like, "I just can't. They're brother and sister. They're too cute together. Like, can we just get both?" And I said, "Yeah, it's fine." So now we have 2 tiny little 5-week-old kittens. They're currently sleeping, I think, in the other room, but they are rambunctious and loving. And it's great to have more animals in the house because I'm a huge animal person.
Yeah, I saw they were in one of the company-wide meetings
Yeah.
this week, and I think they gave some really great input.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they look really cute. So I'm certainly excited for my dog, and I'm sure you are with your kittens as well.
Yeah,
So
it's always nice
things are
watching the
good, man.
family grow. It is good. I mean, like all things considered, everything that's going on around us right now, I guess both of us are doing pretty good. You know what else is doing pretty good? The world of Counter-Strike right now. And a
Very
large
good.
part of that is due to the work put in by CSGO. So if you look more recently, Counter-Strike has been updating pretty regularly. Uh, Actually, very regularly. Since the release of Valorant, it seems, the Counter-Strike devs have had more pressure on them to kind of deliver with some long overdue updates. And the one that I think is actually most impressive is the one they just released last night, which created a huge headache for me nonetheless. But
Of
text
course.
filtering, I mean, that's awesome. Yeah, me and Topical were casting the High School Esports League Grand Finals for their spring season. Literally, as the game started, the update came out. It's like 5 megs, really tiny update. Broke get 5, server crashed 3 times. One map in a best of 5 took 3.5 hours, and we didn't finish.
Of course, standard
So,
CS productions,
so
right before.
yeah, it did definitely create some headaches for me, but I don't even care because I really do feel like this is long overdue. Text filtering in this game is something that should have existed a long time ago. It's a little bit of a band-aid to a problem, in my opinion. This covers up an issue that's long-standing in gaming, and obviously that's hate speech and negativity and toxicity. Hate speech being the more important thing, though. The fact that so many people feel free to just throw it out there without consequence because it seems like developers just don't have a proper grasp on how to handle it, with one exception, Ubisoft and Rainbow Six Siege.
Yeah, I really think it's great that they've added this to the CSGO text. I mean, it's been a problem since I've been playing CS, since 2001, 2002. Just so much toxicity. It's not everybody, but at a point, it was just basically part of the game and you accepted it. You'd try and tell people off that are using racist words, hate speech, treating girls badly. So it's good that they put in that filter. As you mentioned, I think it is a band-aid of a bigger problem. How can you rid CSGO and just games in general of toxicity? And it's more I think a people thing that needs to be changed as opposed to, a filter itself. But the filter, I think, does help out, especially people that are the target of the toxicity, whether it's females playing CSGO, people of different colors that are getting a hard time from people within games for literally no reason. So it's good that they can turn that off. But either way, I'm glad that CSGO has at least addressed this for the time being. At some point, they can do something further where it's addressing the people and the toxicity itself, as opposed to just limiting the words that can be used within the text.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's minorities in general that are often the target. And even if they're not the target, sometimes the words used are words that are hateful towards people of that type. And we're talking, especially in the gaming community, this is more of a problem because females in Counter-Strike are definitely underrepresented. So they would be a heavy minority. And then you have people who are handicapped either physically or mentally. You have people of color. I mean, there's plenty of things that people throw out there that kind of tick every box for hate speech. So yeah, it's a Band-Aid for a problem, but at least now no one has to see it. Like if there is no proper solution, if Valve can't figure it out, how to police 1 million people, then maybe this is the way that you can at least prevent it from becoming an issue where it really does hurt somebody. And if you're the type of person who's going, my rights, my freedoms.
Yeah, like, right? Which you see a lot these days.
You can go do something physically impossible with yourself because that's just ridiculous. All they're saying is don't be a douchebag, which
really not that difficult.
Yeah, it's really not.
Like
I've had people say some terrible things to me, and I think one of the best things you can ever do in response is just tell them how much you love them. As stupid as that sounds, if somebody's like using really negative speech towards you, be like, "Oh man, I just love when you talk dirty to me. I love you so much, baby." Like XOXO. Yeah. Like I do stuff like that all the time, and like I don't know what to do. I feel uncomfortable.
I saw that you and Sapphire were playing in a game. I think that was actually Valorant. I'm not sure if it was Valorant or CSGO, but I mean, like a recent example of that happening.
Yeah, it was in Valorant.
For no reason.
We were playing in Valorant. It was me, Sapphire, Prius, and 2 others, and we were playing in Valorant late at night, and out of nowhere, this guy just starts dropping hate speech. Really confused me, to be honest, because it was like we didn't do anything. We were like 4 rounds into a game. We hadn't said a word to them. And then we started responding, be like, imagine thinking that was okay to say back. And the guy was like, then more hate speech comes out, which is even worse. So we're like, okay, like this is not going to end. One of the guys on our team does go back and forth with him a bit because he gets a little annoyed and frustrated about the fact that he's talking like this. But I don't think nothing he said really crossed any lines. It was just clear like he was not going to just sit there and be like, okay, whatever. So
I'm the same way. Yeah.
I tweeted everything out, and all the guys that were in that group blocked me on Twitter and went private on their social media, acting like it's just going to go away if they ignore it. But if you guys are ever watching, I'm going to make it my duty to make sure you never get an opportunity in esports until you apologize. I don't think that really type of behavior, like I put your names out there. I know who you are. If I see orgs trying to sign you, I'm going to call it out, and I'm going to say, hey, how about this? And make sure that you actually have to like make amends. I don't expect you to come to me and be like, hey, man, I'm really sorry. I just expect you to say, hey, you know what? I said something stupid. I shouldn't use words like that. I should realize words like that are hurtful. I apologize to the community, whatever. But eventually it's going to come back to bite you in the butt. I mean, we saw that more recently with Infinite, who played for multiple teams in Counter-Strike at a semi-professional level before getting an opportunity with Cloud9, and then an old clip came out of him dropping the hard R, and he had to apologize. He lost his opportunity with Cloud9.
That was his biggest opportunity up to that point, too.
Yeah. And then, so recently he actually tweeted something out, a long apology through a Twitlonger, and donated $5,000 to the Minneapolis Freedom Fund, if I'm not mistaken, as a way of trying to just apologize for doing something he heavily regrets. In my opinion, that's how you do it. Like, you shouldn't have said it. Admit that you shouldn't have said it. Admit that you won't say it again, and accept the penalty. He lost his opportunity with Cloud9, and he lost $5,000. Does that mean it undoes what he said? No, but at least it makes amends. But I don't want to spend too much time talking on this. We'll go ahead and scroll down and look at the other big update that came in from Valve. The player contrast setting, which is actually huge because it makes the game so much easier to play. You can actually see players now, and added some agent features or agent textures for improved visibility. Yada 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 yada. But one of the bigger things is they made some changes to Dust 2 and the doors, which
My favorite map.
everyone is thrilled about.
Yeah, I'm a big Dust 2 fan. I know there's a lot of people on Twitter that aren't as big of a fan. I mean, I've been playing Dust 2 since 2001, 2002, the best map in my mind. So there's not really a ton you can change on Dust 2, but the doors, I think, is a good adjustment. Like mid doors, number one, I don't think they changed it in this specific example, but that's always something you can take a look at, just because crossing from CT spawn into B, you can't even go to defend your site without being hailed in bullets, or, you have an opper spotting down, just kind of spamming the door, either pre-firing you through the door or catching you as you cross. So, that's always something you can take a look at, see if there's some sort of adjustment you can make. But the B door, I think we all know, at least you and I, and a lot of other people that have played CS for a while, is retaking B is very difficult in the previous form. But now that they've swapped the doors the opposite way, so you can see people coming out from B tunnels and coming in towards the site, that is a small adjustment, but has a huge impact. And that is going to make defending the B site a little bit easier, and a minimum making it easier to retake, because before it was really difficult. And I'm really excited to see what sort of adjustments the players are going to be making at the pro level, semi-pro level, to this change on the Dust 2 doors. But just those small changes can have a large impact on the gameplay and the meta on specific maps.
Now, looking at some of the other things that have gone on throughout the week, one of the ones that I think is actually pretty important to bring up relates to a service known as ESEA, and we'll go ahead and hop over and take a look at that. So this was a bit of a surprise as it came in throughout the middle of the week. A player by the name of Rico, who has played with a variety of teams, again, mostly at a semi-professional or low-tier professional level, was banned on ESEA for a year for malicious activity. And everyone was like, wait, what? What happened here? That's confusing. So Rico went to social media, as any player would, and professed their innocence, didn't understand the ban, was confused, was frustrated, sort of went on the blame game as well, saying that he did nothing wrong. So ESEA ended up coming out with a long thread here on the ESEA forums, basically going through the information. And what you end up finding out is that Rico played on an alt account with a friend with a player he apparently admitted he knew was cheating, but continued to play with them as those players boosted through the ESEA leaderboard system and actually found their way into legitimate prizing of cash value. Like, they were skins. They're not. It's not money. It's not like they were cheating in Rank S or Rank G or MDL or any of the leagues, but they were cheating their way through the PUG ladder system and basically stealing money by cheating. And as a result, Rico and his friend Sav both got banned for malicious activity for a year for knowingly queuing with cheaters. So I know that some people have a personal opinion on this and say that maybe he didn't deserve it, but you've played CS long enough. When you play with a cheater, even if they're good at it, you kind of know.
Yeah, you have a pretty good understanding of when somebody's cheating, especially when they're on your team and you're able to view them playing. When you're playing against somebody, it might be a little bit more difficult. You kind of have a feel when people are cheating, but you might not necessarily know unless you go back and watch the VOD, unless it's like rage, hacking, walling. But, people that are good enough to hide their cheats, you might not be able to pick up and be sure if they're on the opposite team. But if they're on your team, you should be able to know, especially with the skill that Rico has. But one thing I want to say up front is, I've watched Rico for a long time. He's a great player. He's kind of outspoken on Twitter, but that's not a bad thing. Mm-hmm. I expected him to put something like that out on Twitter, and eventually ESEA responded. But, he has been in CS for a long time. So, why would he do something like this? Queuing with people that are you probably know are cheating. It's questionable. I think at a minimum, it's sketchy what happened here. I'm not going to be able to decide whether, he did, cheat, or he knew his teammate was cheating and was trying to bump them up through the ladder so they could get a cash prize. Maybe he gets a cut or something like that. But it's sketchy at a minimum. But I do like that Illuminati was very transparent about this, what the thought process behind the ban was. But, that's really between Rico and ESEA at this point. But as I mentioned, I think it was pretty sketchy. I think he probably should have known better.
I mean, this goes back to a ban that I personally placed on a player whose name is Grande. Grande was playing with a group of players that went under the team name Scotch Tape, playing in Europe's advanced division, trying to make it into MDL. They were actually competing in playoffs when we banned them all because we detected cheats through the anti-cheat on a couple players. I think only one of the players actually survived as someone who didn't cheat or knew they were cheating. There was proof, legitimate proof, after we went through the ban wave with those players encapsulated in that Grande knew his team was cheating and may have potentially cheated in the past, but got away with it because it was prior to the anti-cheat's ability to detect the boogeyman of cheating, which is the hardware cheats. So we placed a ban on Grande for knowingly playing with cheaters and destroying the integrity of the system. That's the way it kind of works. He knew and benefited from it directly. You ask yourself this question, and you said it, what does Rico gain from this? Like, it doesn't feel like Rico gains anything, and it seems
it wasn't a meaningful amount of money.
And no, and he didn't actually get anything. It was just for his friend. It was all very confusing. It doesn't make sense to me. I don't think that he was trying to be malicious in his intent, but I think he was maybe being ignorant to a possible repercussion of his actions, which is not, a reason for not being punished. Ignorance to a rule is not a reason to get away scot-free. It is all very strange, though, because I see both sides. I see why Rico's upset, and I get it, but I also totally understand why ESEA placed the ban. To me, it's like it makes sense. Like, if I'm ESEA, I'm not gonna not place that ban, because let's pretend that it's not Rico. Let's just pretend it's some random dude who plays an open. You think that's gonna stop them from placing that ban?
They're staying banned.
Like, the only reason that this has even become an issue is because Rico is a prolific player with an established career. If this is just some Joe Schmo, they're just going to ban him. I know because I did this personally. We found players cheating their way through, not cheating, but they were gaming the system, throwing matches for each other and qualifiers to get into rank G. So I banned all of them because they were all gaming the system. And like, I knew they were doing it. It was pretty clear they were doing it, and I had plenty of reports and chat logs and everything to confirm. So you can't like pick and choose when these rules are punishable just because someone has a brand behind their name. You have to unilaterally apply the rules, and by doing it to a player of a prolific level, you set the precedent that it's not going to be something you can escape. It's going to affect everybody. If you don't ban him here, all of a sudden it opens that door for somebody else to do it.
Yeah, I think it's good that ESEA addressed it and they kind of broke down why they made this decision. If they hadn't explained it, that would make it even more sketchy what's going on in the situation. But if I'm Rico, I understand his position. If I'm ESEA, I understand his position. So, hopefully they can work it out. But it doesn't seem like ESEA is going to be making any changes. So, yeah, kind of tough situation. You don't like to see it. I've watched Rico for a long time. When he was on the denial team with Zelsis, when he was first coming up, making a name for himself in XP3, they had a really good season, kind of out of the blue. And since then, I've been a fan of his play. So it's tough to see a situation like this.
Yeah, I mean, there's no ill will from me towards Rico at all. Just kind of sharing my opinion on things. I'm sure that he disagrees with some of that, but ultimately, like I said, I see both sides. I get where why this decision was made, and I get why it has to stick. It's unfortunate for him as it does derail somewhat of a promising career, but at the same point in time, Valorant, baby, there's options out there. Yeah, right, he actually jokingly tweeted something out of him installing Valorant. He's like, it's time, because I think he realized like there's nothing that's going to happen from this. He's just going to have to wait it out. So for a year potentially, he's going to have to play a different game or just stop pursuing Counter-Strike altogether. Now, staying in the same vein with ESEA got a little bit of positive PR for this. I think that mostly people were understanding of ESEA's position and understood the ban, but they released something else recently. Why don't we go ahead and pull up the video and take a look?
ESEA are bringing new and improved tools to Insider to help you get your game on the level of the pros. I'll quickly mention 3 of the main systems. The first is Refrag. This is a new and improved way that you can watch demos and more. There are 3 main features to this new tool: Watch, Record, and Versus. Restrat offers a new way to watch demos without having to deal with the default demo viewer, and all while being on a live server. Want to skip forward around? That's instant. Want to skip back around? That's also instant. Are you reviewing your team's demo and you want to let a teammate know they were off on their grenade lineup? Leave them a note, all while in the demo. Now they can view the note and click on a link to take them to the exact moment you want them to see. Demo reviewing can be lonely work, but now it doesn't have to be. Your whole team can watch a demo together on a server with Restrat. Is your team easily distracted? Well, you can now take full control and show them exactly what you want them to see. But this isn't everything. You can also dry run and execute while recording and rewatch that execute all within the server. Having this kind of rewatching potential really lets you know where your gaps lie. Dry running is great practice, but you can't really know how effective a strat is unless you play against it. With Restrat, you can do this. Get your whole team on a side and you can play against yourselves. Have you ever wondered what it'd be like to play against the top teams in the world? With the Versus feature, now you can. Pick any team on any map and play against them with Restrat. Warming up in CSGO is important, and there are many ways to do this. Pre-Fire offers solutions that solves the issues of its competitors. For the first time, the load of spawning multiple pods is taken off your PC and put onto the server. This gives you smooth gameplay and up to 18 arenas on all maps. Want to compare your time with others? Well, since this is on a live server, leaderboards will be displayed in real time. Work your way up and I'm sure you can make it to that top spot. Feeling lonely? Well, you can now play Pre-Fire with your fellow teammates with an included co-op leaderboards. Use this to get that unspoken sync before heading into an official. The final tool to quickly show you is Nader, which is incredible for upping your utility game. Walk up to any of the floating nades and press E on them. This will now give you one or more different options to throw this grenade. Want to come up with some new smokes? Use the smoke finder to do this. Select your start point, then select your endpoint. Nader will perform calculations and give multiple ways to throw the smoke. So just like that, you can come up with easy ways to smoke off those hard to figure out spots. Another method to create new lineups is by using the grenade predictor. Pull the pin and you will see the path your grenade will take. You can also snap to the endpoint and see exactly where your grenade will land. So no need to throw a single smoke 100 times to find something useful. I've really just scratched the surface on what's doable with these new tools, so get ready to discover everything that's possible soon. For a new way to learn and play CSGO, visit esca.net/refrag.
So, yeah, that's wild. All of that is insane to me.
Man.
Like, every piece of that is useful.
Yeah, even just updating the demo viewer to the version that they've made, that would have been a huge splash as it was. But all the other stuff they added all at once, it was just like a CSGO bomb alongside, the Dust 2 doors and all that. ESCA did an incredible job. I haven't had a chance to use it yet, but all the feedback I've seen on Twitter from big name players within the CSGO scene says this is a huge innovation. This is a really big deal. It's gonna save a lot of players' time. Going through demos, learning smokes. So, well done, ESCA. We love ESCA in this house, but that was a fantastic job.
Like, literally everything they did in this was useful. It's not like there's one piece that's like, oh, that's it was okay, but it was like, the other stuff's really more what I would be looking at. Like, every piece, the nader thing, that is nuts to me. The fact that, I can literally learn my own smokes if I want to, by just enabling that tracer so I can see where my smokes are going to go every single time. That's crazy. Like, the way they designed the system to work is wild. This was something they were working on when I worked at ESCA. I remember hearing about it, but I actually personally never had a chance to try it or test it because I left before it went into that more public phase within our company. So at the time, I was not a part of the project, so as a result, I didn't see the early stuff. We were just in, basically conversation phases with some of the team that was working on it. So I never got to see it, but I knew it was coming. I just didn't know how long it was going to take. And honestly, my expectations were blown away. Because I thought it was going to be kind of so-so. There might be some cool features here. No, I was literally shocked at how awesome this looks. As someone who doesn't play CSGO as much as I used to, I wish it was out sooner because it would have been so beneficial to me when I was younger.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Whether you're going through demos as a caster or, especially as a player, or even now that we have coaches, that's a huge deal. The coaches, their time is going to be significantly
Yeah.
shorter when they're going through demos, and they're going to be able to communicate with their teammates even better through the note-taking section. So yeah, awesome job by ESEA. I love it. I'm definitely going to be trying out the challenges that they have where, you go through a map with one of your buddies and try to get the best time. I saw Jackson was at the top. Like, come
Yeah,
on,
with Karn.
the scores can't be that good if Jackson's at the top. So, maybe you and me are going to queue, and we'll make light work of that score.
One of the things that I wanted to see created when I worked at ESEA, I actually pitched an idea, and that's when I found out about this project initially, called Major Moments, where you would load in to a major moment, like a moment that occurred at a major, a prolific moment. Coldzera's jumping op, Simple's falling shot on cash, any of those moments, and you had to try to recreate it. So like you're Coldzera, and the players are all loaded into position based on a demo file, and they run the same path over and over and over again. And you have to try to do exactly what he did. And if you did it, you would get a badge on your ESEA profile. That's a product that I pitched, and I was like, this would be so cool to me. Like, I would love the idea of being able to relive some of these cool moments from the history of majors, and then start adding in other things. ESL events like ESL 1 Cologne, ESL 1 New York, IEM Chicago, IEM even go back to San Jose, Beijing, any of the events, Australia, Sydney. There's so many big moments that happen at all of these events. Imagine being able to literally like step into the shoes of that player when that happens, even knowing exactly how it's going to play out, struggling to do it 100 times in a row.
Yeah. It's like doing the simple drop on cash.
Yeah.
From rafters, trying to see if you can hit that no scope. And, people are going to try it out. I know I would want to, just to see kind of what I'm made of and how I can compare. And I guess it also gives a comparison to how difficult some of these things that these guys do. Obviously situations like Simple and Coldzera, people automatically know they're difficult, but there's going to be other situations where it might not look too difficult. But then once you try to do it, you can't do it out of 100 times. I think it'll give a good appreciation for the players, kind of how high of a skill level they have.
It would even be cool if you could pipe in the caster audio. So as you're doing it, like you hit specific key points, so it triggers that caster cue. So you could be like, Simple, this is a major, not FPL, like whatever it was when he did that, the drop on cash, or the fake flash into B site with the AWP through the window. Like all of those plays, being able to relive those and then hear the audio cues and be like a part of the system. It would be cool as an aspiring player to be able to like kind of feel like you're a part of that. And it was something I really wanted to see become a thing. And then I even took it to a next level. I was like, and then we go to an event, and at our booth, players put on a VR headset, and they have a mouse and keyboard and monitor, and that's all a part of the VR system. But when they look around, they're on stage, and the crowd's around them, and they can see the casters there. What they're seeing on screen is what they're doing, but like the whole thing would be like a VR environment to totally emulate the idea of being on stage. And Naturally was like, dude, how do we even make that? Like, we're not equipped to build this. What are you talking about?
Come on.
But I was like,
we've been doing this for 5 years, bro.
But I was like, that would be just so sick to just imagine the possibility of, and then it like sparks that desire inside of a player. Like, I thought I wanted to be a pro player before. Now I really want to be that pro player. I really want to step into that environment for real.
Yeah, I mean, it's something as immersive as that. That would be really cool. So Jackson, work on that. That's the next one. All right.
Well, that is just about going to wrap things up for us here, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by for the show. Thank you, Mitch, as well, for joining me. Hope you go and enjoy your pupper. I know you said like an hour and a half, right? Because it's 1 your time. So good luck with the pupper. Send pictures, of course. We want to see the pupper getting acclimated to your apartment. Hopefully it won't destroy everything in your apartment, or maybe it will. Who knows? That's the joy of having a dog.
I heard she's a good girl, so hoping that's not the case.
Fingers crossed. Is this your first pet, period? Like your first personal pet?
Well, I had like hamsters as a kid, but
that doesn't count.
Nothing related, nothing compared to my own dog. My parents have had dogs before, but this one is all my own, and I am responsible for it.
All right, that's the step to becoming an adult.
Yeah, I know, right?
Starting to take
we
care
get
of other
there.
living
A few other
things.
too, but that's one I can check off the box.
All right, well, thank you guys so much for joining us. If you like the show, make sure you stop by every Friday at noon. We go live here with Door Stuck. You can also follow us on social media at Bach_TV, at MagicHelmet TV. You can also follow Nerd Street Gamers at Nerd Street Gamers on all applicable social media. You can actually see it there at the bottom. It's also nerdstreetgamers.com, NERDST gamers.com. We hope to see you guys next time.